Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is easily by far the most underrated Roblox tower defense game, and that's for numerous reasons, because most tower defense games are either brain rot or they're all anime tower defense games and they all have the same systems. But with this is different because they have a lot more mechanics, a lot more better detail, there's way more things going on, and they're very consistent with updates, and it has a lot of potential. This is the second version of an older game called FNTD1, and FNTD1 was when it was in its prime, but since they had a rough start with FNTD2's release, it's not doing as good. So I thought, even though only like 10 people are gonna watch the video, I might as well make it to see if I could make it be as popular as FNTD was, because FNTD2 is easily better than this. So real quick, we're gonna go in a game real quick, just to show you, have a little glimpse of what it's like. But there's way more. As somebody that's a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, this is like a dream come true for me, because I love tower defense games and stuff like that. But yeah, while the game's loading, and I really recommend you check this game out, because they're doing very good with updates, and they're just good in general. I think they're better than most tower defense games that are on Roblox right now, and it deserves way more popularity. And yeah, so how this works is there's different rarities. There's an uncommon, common, rare, epic, mythic, secret, nightmare, and then apex. Apex being the best rarity in the game. And now with this tower defense games, there's skins you could get for units, which I don't know any other tower defense games that does that. And real quick, I'm going to show you how the units look. So as you can see, we have sick units like this, and they're all like Five Nights at Freddy's related. This is one of my favorite, because he just looks mad tough and stuff. And these are the enemies. They have shield, so that blue means they have shield. So no matter how much damage you do, when you attack them while their shield's on, in all reality, you only do like 1 damage. But once their shield is broken, then you could do real damage. And yeah, and then there's also shinies in the game. So with shinies, they don't really like change the stats of the units, but they do make it look a lot cooler. Like this one, for example, it looks nothing like this. Normal one is way different, and this one's mad tough. And yeah. Even if Apex is, this one is my favorite. It's called Astro Bonnie. It's the highest DPS Apex in the game, from what, if I'm correct. And yeah, I only have 2 Apexes, but if I'm not mistaken, there's about like 7 or 8. This is another one, mad tough. It's like a Kronos Endo Freddy. So it's like a Freddy, but like a super cool tanky version with like time and stuff like that. So it's pretty tough. And then they have boosters, like they have multiple, but this is one of them. Like Shiny Overgrown Foxy is a booster. So as you can see here, it's very nice and organized, where you can see passives and stuff, so it's very easy to understand, and they explain it in a proper manner. So for this one, every 4 seconds it switches from 20% damage buff to 30% range buff, 12.5 cooldown reduction, and so on and so forth. Now if we were to check other units, like Astro Bonnie, for example, he has, so gold means it's the ability. So this, hold on. Once I level, so to see the ability, you got some, for some you have to level them up to a specific amount to where you could actually use the ability. So once I get to that level, I'm gonna show you. And yeah. And then this is another one, Kronos. As you can see here, this is his ability. The ability, time, the end of all things. Kronos Endo Freddy freezes time for all enemies on the map for 2 seconds, is multiplied by the amount of stacks consumed to activate the time stop. During stop time, enemies do not take damage, so on and so on and so forth. And another really cool thing about this that I don't think any other tower defense came up with is elements. So each unit has their own element, and elements work good together. So as you can see, this is like a cogwheel, that's rust. Since that's a leaf element, it's like nature. Since that's like normal, it's neutral. And then they have mixed elements, so this is a mix of dark and light, and then that's water. And basically each element could give each other buffs. So for example, with Kronos Endo Freddy's ability, If you have 3 or more rust units on your team, the damage gets increased. Or the more rust units you have on, the more rust element units you have on your team, increases the time stop, which is very cool. So there's a lot of different mechanics and strategies that you could do with this. So yeah, and then the placements are very nicely organized. As you can see, it'll say it nice and very cool. Placed 1, max is 1, max is 2, 1, 3, and so on and so forth. And yeah. So after this, I'm gonna show you the rest of the mechanics that they have, because this game is a very fun and cool game, and I feel like it's very underrated and deserves more attention. Especially for people who like Five Nights at Freddy's, this is like amazing. This is a dream come true. So yeah. They also have an in-game macro built, so when people will do that thing where they AFK grind in tower defense games and you never know on how to do it, this game solves that problem, and they give you an in-game macro that works better than the ones that people would use in other tower defense games, because this macro that they have is very nice and clean, and it's easy to understand. So I can see there's a majority of different units. So this is exclusive. Exclusive is just like limited time units. Nightmare is nightmare. Secret is like these, and so on and so forth. So if we go here, as you can see, there's the pities, there's the different units that you could get. There's way more, but and then banners. If you go to the souls, you could summon with souls, and they give you different like units. And then index over here, this shows like all the apexes in the game. I'm missing 2 of them, but I have most of them. And then there's exclusives, nightmares, secrets, stuff like that. And then bites. So for anybody who might play FNAF World, they'll know what bites is. Basically, bites is like a little thing you could attach to a unit. So let's say I want to connect it to War Machine Foxy. Now when I go to him, he has that bite equipped, and the bite shows it gives him plus 12 damage, plus 11 range, and minus 8 cooldown. So it's a pretty good thing. And then if you don't like the stats a thing has, if you come over here, you could pick the bite you want to change. So let's say I want to change this one. I'll click it, and then I need 250 souls, so I click reroll, and then it changes the things. And then now they actually recently just added a new enchant. So we have Investor, which it explains everything very nice and organizingly, so it's easy to understand. And there's pities for them. So after using your souls a certain amount of times, you're guaranteed to get that thing. So by Hijacked, after I summon 30,000 times, like for enchant thing, then I could get it guaranteed. And Hijacked is a new one they added recently. And over here is the Evo like area. So these are different units. Some units in the game have evos. So let's say I want to evolve Clockwork Cupcake. I have it here. It'll say the requirements I need to evolve it. And then I'll evolve one now. So like this one I could evolve. So you'd click evolve. Yes. And then I would get that unit. Luckily I got a shiny. So with shinies it's a 2% chance of getting. So I actually got really lucky with this. And yeah. And then the cosmetics is skins you can use for a specific unit. So this one, Radiant Astro Bonnie, obviously would go with Astro Bonnie. And if you want, let's say I want to add a skin for him, I'll go over here. The purple exclamation mark explains the passives and stuff. The heart favorites it, so it's at the top, like I have these 2 favorited. The shirt is where you go for different skins. So there's multiple skins for different things in the game. So yeah, and then I have this one, and then if you click on the eyeball, you could actually see the unit before testing it out if you like. So this one, this is the skin for him. I think it looks pretty cool. And then attack work, so that's what his attack animation is. And yeah. So yeah, I just scratched this off the surface of what there is. There's a lot more to the game, and way more different game modes. So there's like a tower, boss raid, endless, PvP, things like that. And if you want to figure out what those do, you gotta come join and see for yourself, because trust me, it is very nice. And yeah, one thing I love about this game is how everything is nicely organized and easy to understand. Because with other tower defense games I've tested out, there's like a lot of buttons everywhere and stuff, so it's hard to clearly understand what everything does and stuff like that. And then they also have clans, so that's another cool thing. And real quick, I'm gonna summon. So I'm gonna summon. And then these are the different things, so like shiny withered cupcake, and then yeah. And now with the shop, there's resource packs you can get. It's another thing about this game, it's not pay to win whatsoever. We have Candy Cadet, Helpy. You could buy souls, you could buy tokens, you could buy stat chips and spring locks. I'll show what those do in a second. And then we have a couple game passes like VIP, Quick Open, Premium Ticket, Shiny Hunter, so on and so forth. And then with the stat chips, if you go over here, stat reroll. Let's say I wanna stat reroll this unit. It says I need 1 endo chip, and then at the bottom it says how much of 57, so I could reroll. And then there's different letters you could get, with glitch being the best one, so you try and want to get glitch. And then let's say I get like, I want to keep B, I could lock it, and I can enchant just these two, but it would cost me a spring lock also, but I don't have any at the moment, so I wouldn't be able to do that. But and then if you want to lock these two, you just lock them, and then it'll reroll this one only, so you could keep those two on, and then it'll cost more. And yeah, that's pretty much it from what I know off the top of my head, but there's definitely way more in this game. I recommend you guys checking out. So yeah, I really do recommend this game, so please do me a favor and check it out. Thank you and have a great day.